Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Horror Highway. I'm Maris.
I'm Omar.
And today we'll be starting the Mexico Iceberg series. We were originally going to do a one video, but there was just a lot, so we decided to make it a series. And today is just the first layer.
Yeah, obviously it's a whole country, so like obviously it would have a lot of things. Just, I mean, look at the states of the U.S. Like they're just states, but they also get a shit ton. So,
what surprised me is that Mexico doesn't really have a lot of, or Mexico doesn't have a lot of cryptids, right? Like you know, the famous ones, but there's a lot of urban legends.
Well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Which to me, it's just a bit weird.
I don't think that's that weird.
I don't know. To me, it is.
But I mean, that's just the natural progression of these things. It's like
no, but like
they start off as urban myths / urban legends, and then if that can absolutely be disproven, like most of that stuff gets disproven in the U.S. because it's like, well, we have technology now, we have like huge cities, and you're telling me we haven't found alligators in the sewer? Obviously, it stays like an urban myth.
What do you mean? I've seen one.
All right. Tuuk Kame, going by many nicknames such as the Demonio Necrofago, Luna Araña, or Señor del Inframundo. The legends of this entity come from the Wayy Cho people, and is said to be a creature that feasts on rotten flesh, and even causes some people to slowly go mad due to its influence. And it does this with dementia. It's specified as dementia. I don't know why. While the entity is said to reside in the underworld, it's said to also stalk the Wirikuta desert, ready to feast on those lost in the desert at night, and also appears to people who have taken peyote, which makes sense because if you're tripping off drugs, you're gonna see some freaky shit. So
yeah.
Tuuk Kame is said to be the grandson of Utsa, which is a form of the grandmother moon, whose name is actually Tarika. I don't know why, but that's funny because it's like not a traditionally like pre-Spanish kind of sounding name. You get what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're saying, because you're over here making stuff up.
Okay, like Huichol, like you get Huichol
No, yeah.
and Wirikuta, and then you have Tarika. I assume it's Tarika, actually. But when the full moon occurs, she becomes Utsa. That's where Tuuk Kame and the other birds of death come from. And those are like the ones you always see in the desert, the scavenger birds. And some demons. I'm just explaining that to you. Like,
I'm trying to figure out.
That's vultures and shit like that. But I don't think vultures are in Mexico.
I was thinking buzzards. What the fuck?
Same thing. Well, I don't think they're the same thing, but yeah, same concept.
I'm tweaking, bro. What did I think buzzards were looking like vultures? They're not, bro. I'm tweaking.
A little bit. I think they're shorter.
Well, some of them.
They're just shorter. Like,
what's the difference between a vulture and a buzzard? I mean, they look. Buzzards look like a bird.
They look like turkeys with like
no, that's
more
a
ugly,
vulture,
right?
bro. My bad.
The legend goes that the Wayy Cho people had dead that were constantly being picked at by the birds of death, but the Wayy Cho people couldn't touch the dead, as it was seen unclean to touch them, and Tuuk Kame proposed that the dead be eaten, but the Wayy Cho people said that was worse than even touching the dead bodies. So Tuuk Kame proposed a different idea. The bodies be wrapped in cloth and put in a cave so Utsa can take care of them, and the Wayy Cho people agreed. However, late into the night, Tuuk Kame snuck into the cave and ate the bodies, forever rotting his flesh and clothes. Now described as always bloody, with the visage of a skeleton, although sometimes has the body of a wolf that has white stripes. Tuuk Kame's most apparent feature is his belt, said to be made of the bones of his victims. It's something you should be afraid of. It's supposed to make the sounds of his victims, and is said to sound like a maraca. Another trait of his is his smell, which, if you couldn't have guessed, is that of a rotting corpse. Other things are up in the air, such as his face being painted white, whether or not he has wings or horns, and supposedly his heart is that of a parakeet. That's it. Wait, no, that's not it. And the way to scare him off is with water.
Okay, I mean, water's kind of odd, but
I assume it's because like you wash, because it would be like washing.
So it's like a bird?
No, he's not a bird. He's just a dude. His heart is just
wings and a parakeet.
His heart is a parakeet. In the images I've seen, like his heart isn't exposed, so I don't know why that detail was there.
Kind of creepy, I guess. I mean, it's folklore though. I don't know.
I mean, you should look at images of them.
Anyways, going from Tuuk Kame to emos versus punks, which is probably the least scary thing on this. I think so.
Maybe. I mean, I have one that isn't that scary.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple. Most of these aren't too spooky. As the name suggests, it is emos versus punks, and I put it on here because I thought it was really funny and just weird. Why did this happen? So on March 16th, 2008, a brawl between emos and punks, and goths, because goths are like a subgroup of punk, or like goth is rooted through punks.
I thought emos were a subgroup of goth.
I don't know, but I do know goth is like spanned off of punk.
Okay, I mean,
I don't know about emo.
I can see that.
And this took place in Mexico City, in a roundabout called Glorieta Insurgentes, which is like, according to the article I read, it's the main meeting place for emos in Mexico City.
We gotta go.
I mean, I'm not. I identify more with punk, bro. So
no matter, bro.
Okay.
Emos.
Which I do want to go to Mexico City because that is like the epicenter of surf punk in the world, bro. So I wouldn't mind going. So in the article I read, which was from June 1st, 2008, they claimed that roundabout was like the main place for emos, and groups from both emos and punks decided to gather there to fight it out. And during like the whole ordeal, emos would just keep screaming emos, 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 right? While the punks were just telling them to commit a word puzzle. And on a news interview, which I was gonna show you, but I don't know if I should.
La cita era las... Los emos respondieron aventando botellas que golpearon a policías y parte de la otra banda. De inmediato empezó una corretiza por parte de los punk. Una chica cae al suelo, el policía la brinca. Al fondo, dos jóvenes se empujan y se pegan. De inmediato, la autoridad los separa. Pero esto apenas es el principio. Se formaban en fieras. Estaban listos con cinturón en mano. De pronto, este joven emo da el primer cinturonazo.
Nosotros estamos en contra de los emos. Somos entre ponquetos, darquetos, emos.
¿Y por qué están atacando?
Porque están copiando nuestros estilos.
Y es apenas cuando la policía reacciona. Eran aproximadamente...
Oh my god, dude. the beat up Converse.
Don't watch the end, okay? Because I want to get to that myself.
Okay, but I just wanted to say this is like a fucking Rosa de Guadalupe episode. Why are
it is emo?
Emos.
Yo también soy emo. Okay, so where was I? So yeah, the punks were telling them to commit a word puzzle. On the news interview during this event, a reporter asked an emo why it was happening, and they said it was because the punks threatened to lynch the emos. Is that screwed? Did I fuck that, bro? Are we gonna get demonetized? Fuck it, dude.
I think
punks and goths teamed up to take down the emos. In the news report, they call goths darks because that's just like another way to call goths.
In Spanish?
No, like in general, they call them. I think darquets. I don't know. They should say it in the interview.
I have the audio really low because I'm listening to you. So.
Not yet. They antagonized the emos because they were taking their quote unquote style. Yeah, they fought and chased each other around. I do know. I think during the interview, which should the clips that I'm showing you guys is from an interview. It does claim that an emo was the first to attack someone with a studded belt. Eventually, the police do get there and they try to calm everything down and separate everything. It lasted for about 5 hours, but then a group of Hare Krishnas spawned in, and they got everything under control themselves. I don't know. You could see it around 2 minutes. Around
no, yeah. As soon as you said it, they appeared on the video, so that was kind of insane.
Pronto, como si fuera una broma o una película surrealista, se escucharon cantos y música que salían del metro Insurgentes. Era un grupo de Hare Krishna y aunque no lo crea, ellos dispersaron la atención.
And it's crazy that they're the ones that got this under control. I thought that was really funny.
That's pretty hilarious. They don't even have hair, dude. I think one of them had hair, but that's crazy.
And yeah, also in the article that I read, it said that after this, more battles of emos and punks happened throughout Mexico. But I'm not sure how true that is. It could have happened. It probably did happen. But luckily no one got seriously hurt. So yeah, that's emos versus punks.
This is literally a South Park episode, by the way.
No, that's goths versus emos, bro.
No, it's vampire kids versus
Vamps, goths versus emos.
But then there was also the later episode with the emos, goths, and vamps, remember? No, the first episode was goths versus emos because they set up a hot topic in the mall and they burn it down at the end of the episode. And then there was a sequel to the episode with goths, emos, and vampires. Or vamp kids.
So yeah, that's it. I added it on here because I thought it was really funny. So yeah, it sounds like you identify more with emos.
No, I don't know why you would say that.
Because you're like, oh, we gotta visit.
Oh, well, yeah, just to like go with the culture and everything, whatever. Carnival Cruise monster. This refers to an underwater creature that was seen by a Carnival Cruise employee on the boat the Carnival Breeze in the Gulf of Mexico in 2014. The employee, Paul George, would be interviewed by Max Hawthorne, who published the interview online on his webpage. Paul claims to have seen the sea creature while on the deck of the ship, though no photos or videos of the creature have surfaced. Paul claims him and several other people saw the creature. Supposedly, the creature breached the surface of the water like a submarine, and at first, he thought it might be a whale, but realized it wasn't in the shape of a whale. He also couldn't accurately determine the size of the creature, at first assuming it to be about 50 feet long, but realizing later that it was actually much larger than the lifeboats. This part doesn't really make sense, because in the interview itself, Max Hawthorne tells him like, yeah, lifeboats are only about 32 feet long. So if you're saying it's 50 feet long, it's obviously bigger than the lifeboats. He just kind of glosses over that. He goes, yeah, they were just bigger than the lifeboats. The reason for the change in his story is because Paul believes that him and the other people that saw it only saw the top of the creature, and that below the waves, it was supposedly much larger. The creature has a head that was about 10 feet long, from what they saw, and with a neck that was about the same length and thickness, and that it was smooth and dark gray/black. The creature was only seen above the water for about 30 seconds before it swam back down, and has never been seen since. Did I mention it happened in the Gulf of Mexico? I think
you didn't.
Yeah, this happened in the Gulf of Mexico. That's why it's in the Mexico iceberg.
Yeah, like a giant snake type shit.
Or more
so
like Nessie. So this is kind of like one of the worst types of things ever, where he's like, he just saw the top of the head. That's all we get.
So it could be like either or.
It could be that could be the top of a huge Nessie, or it could just be a snake, water snake.
Yeah.
Or it literally could have just been like, I guess, a whale gigantism, if that's ever possible, I guess.
It could have just been a whale's penis.
I mean, 10 feet long, 10 feet thick.
What about it, bro?
That's I think that's, I don't know how big they are, but
I don't even know. Is there even whales in the Gulf of Mexico?
Yeah.
I refuse to believe that, bro.
Anyways, so yeah, 10 feet long, and 10 feet thick. That's kind of insane. I don't really get how.
10 feet thick?
10 feet thick. So I assume he means wide when he says 10 feet thick.
I saw a plate, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why he's like, I just saw the top of it.
Anyways, El Santo face review. El Santo was is probably one of the most famous luchador ever, with exceptions of like Mil Máscaras, Blue Demon, Rey Mysterio. Yeah. His name.
Rey Mysterio.
No, it's Rey Mysterio.
It's Rey Mysterio.
His name directly translates to the saint. His mask and like all his gear was always silver, and his mask to me is really interesting in an artistic way. It's supposed to resemble like the paintings of saints you see around church. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
The mosaics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I should have pulled one.
None of his mask ever looked like that. It's just white.
I think you're just tweaking.
It's silver. It's not even white.
He would also star in 54 movies, which I do vow to collect all of them. I have one of them, so yeah. There's only 53 left. Anyways, he's on here because El Santo, he never took off his mask in public, besides the one clip I'm showing you. Luchadors can only take their masks off in public if they lose a lucha de apuestas, which is commonly a mask versus mask, or mask versus hair, or hair versus mask, or hair versus hair. El Santo would take off his mask for like a really brief period on a Contrapunto interview, which was a Mexican television program. Then a week later, he would pass away. And there's just a legend that goes that El Santo knew he was dying, so he wanted to show people how he looked before he passed away.
Este hombre, ya, a ver, cierra los ojos, mira qué bien. Y la verdad tiene cara de profesor. De veras, hombre. Le faltan los anteojos, usa sus anteojos.
I don't know if you looked at the clip or not.
I saw it. He just looks like an old man, younger than my grandpa.
He was like 80, I think, on the time.
Damn, I don't know. It feels kind of like crazy to think that he was just had that mask on in public at all times. It's like, what's the point of the mask? Is that what the mask is?
There was
what does Dream say?
El Hijo del Santo, which was his son, said that he didn't even know his dad was El Santo, and so he saw him one time just put on the mask.
That's obviously a lie. That's obviously a fucking lie, bro. I'm sure he knew. I'm sure. Is he in the wrestling scene as well? El Hijo del Santo.
Yeah, that's
okay. Yeah, so obviously he knew. He's just saying that for the Lord.
No.
He's saying that for the Lord.
No. And yeah, I mean, that's it. That's the only recorded time that he's ever taken his mask off in public.
So what happens if you lose a hair versus a hair? Do you go bald?
You just cut your hair, yeah.
So what? So when you're bald, can you just demand a bunch of bullshit? Can you be like, I'm doing a mask versus I don't got anything to lose fight?
You'll be written off of you won't be allowed, I guess, or booked on the shows for a bit. And usually when anyone loses any of these matches, it's oh, I gotta create a new character, evolve the character I'm currently at. If it's a mask versus mask, then you can't wear that mask ever again because that mask is gone.
Tell that to Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. Well, technically, Rey Mysterio is a different character from his previous character, Rey Mysterio Jr.
El Cisamite. Was that too deep? Was that too stupid?
Your choice.
A Central American Sasquatch is the best way to describe this cryptid. That being said, like the many other variants of the creatures across the world, this Sasquatch has its own quirks, coming from the Nahuatl language and loosely translates to demon/supernatural creature. The legend of this cryptid goes back to far before Europeans came to the Americas, with there even being a Mayan carving in Belize to show a Cisamite. Also, supposedly, Dwendes are his cousin. There are stories of the creature stealing women from villages and killing any men that meet its gaze. Strangely enough, there are tellings of the creature stealing children in order to try to learn how to speak. Not just that, supposedly when hunters leave campfires, it's said to have been seen by the campfires relaxing, and sometimes failed campfires are found in the jungles attributed to Cisamite. To explain on that further, basically hunters go out and they'll see a campfire, a bundle of sticks together, and there's obviously they haven't been burned. A bundle of sticks.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I get the joke you're making. I'm gonna move on. They find the bundle of sticks. They have not been lit on fire or anything, and the hunters just come to assume it's the Cisamite trying to make a fire, but he's too stupid. The famous encounter with this creature that had captured North American attention happened in 1898 by a Canadian man known as Buckskin Joe, in which the creature crawled into his tent, awoke Joe, who then scared it off and shot at it as it ran away. The Cisamite is described as bigger than any man and hairier, as well as looking like a cross between a gorilla and a man, with thick brown matted hair. Another feature of the Cisamite is its lack of thumbs, only having 4 fingers, and the ability to turn its feet backwards in order to trick travelers and to make them lose track of the creature. Now, I forgot to write down the height, but if I remember correctly, 5 feet to 8 feet, or 5 feet to 9 feet is the described size of the Cisamite.
That's pretty big.
So the cousin thing comes from the feet thing. Like I said, he has the ability to turn his feet backwards. Supposedly this is a trait that some Dwendes might have as well, to trick people. I don't know.
I guess to tracks, right?
Yeah, it's to confuse the tracks, because their feet will be facing backwards, so they could be walking like in a direction, and then the tracks make it look like he's coming from the direction he's going.
Yeah. That it?
Yeah, that was it. My bad.
Okay.
There's more encounters with them, but like it's literally like all Bigfoot encounters. I saw it. It was in the woods. It ran away, or like I encountered it. It was aggressive, but we managed to escape. You know, it's Bigfoot encounter.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess with me, I have another like not so scary entry, but I kind of gotta explain some other stuff before I could really, get the full effect on that one. So I will go with Nahual on this one. So a Nahual, or sometimes commonly said as Nagual, is kind of like a witch / supernatural being in Mesoamerican beliefs. It is a being that can shapeshift into animals, typically a human that can take the form of an animal, or a human's animal alter ego. It is said that we all have this animal alter ego for our whole lives. I assume the people who are witches in this context are able to use their form of their alter ego. Nahuales are also a thing all throughout Mesoamerica, and not just one tribe, such as the Maya culture, just like a bunch of other, like the subcultures in Mexico. Bro, because I mean the most popular is Aztec and Maya, but like those are only two cultures when there's
it was Maya. Okay, mines were like at the south of Mexico, but like they were barely in there, I believe.
Yeah, but like there's also so many more cultures.
Yeah, I know. There's like 535 like original. Yeah, there's a lot. There are a lot. Yeah.
The concept of a Nahual in the Maya culture is under the word chulel, which the word is understood as spirit, and basically just refers to a person / witch that can transform into their animal / spirit animal. The Nahual is also common in stories told in Mexico, especially with ones like your uncle or grandpa say. That is also an entry, so that's the one I was talking about earlier. Also, a Nahual is very similar to a skinwalker, which were very common in Western Indian tribes, and my quote-unquote headcanon is, so around Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. It's right above Mesoamerica, so, little interesting connection. That a skinwalker could have also been a Nahual.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that a culture would move its myth into another culture and would change the name, but like the core tenets of the creature are still there. So.
Yeah. I mean, because Skinwalker is basically a Nahual, right? They're just a witch doctor that could shapeshift into an animal.
If the way migration patterns are, it would come from North America and move down. The story would move down towards these Central Americas, because that's the pattern of migration and stuff. Because the proto Native Americans and Indians, I forget, Alaskan people, I forget what they're called. They walked through the ice bridge that was between Russia and Alaska into America. Yeah. Okay, enough of that. Yeah. Interesting. So Mexico has its own skinwalkers. I've never heard of this, bro, if I'm being honest.
That's one of the most common stories that come out of Mexico.
All I've ever heard is of ghost dogs and UFOs or ovnis. That's what my family talks about. So
yeah.
El Cucuy. El Cucuy, at least for me growing up, was just the boogeyman. A creature that was never actually described in any particular way, other than he's super scary and he takes away bad children. That perception changed when I was in 4th grade, in which I read a book called El Cucuy, a Boogeyman Cuento by Joe Hayes, and that's when I learned that El Cucuy actually had like lore behind him, and that kind of surprised me because no one ever mentioned that before. I assume it was like the same for you, and no one told the El Cucuy lore to you.
So my mom never really tried to scare us with El Cucuy.
Oh.
I was scared of Chucky, so every time she wanted me to like you get scared, she'd put on Chucky, and then she had bought some witch thing, like a witch figure thing for like Halloween that like moved and stuff. And for some reason, as a kid, I just found that really fucking scary, and I would get fucking scared. So yeah, to me, the Cucuy, I mean, I know of it, but it wasn't like as prominent to me as some others.
They would just tell me if I acted bad, he would take me away in the night. So they constantly threaten that. They constantly.
You know what should have
that.
been on this Iceberg?
Who?
That I didn't add. I don't know if this happens in Mexico. I assume it does. But here in America, Hispanic parents would be like, "Ese señor te va a llevar." So I don't know if that should have been on here or not, but it's funny. Basically,
it's
just
the
saying.
Way it's the way they always stare back. They don't stare at the parents when they tell them. They stare at the kid.
It's basically just if a little kid's acting bad, the parent will be like, "That guy over there is gonna take you if you keep acting bad," and then usually the guys just play along and like try to scare the kid or the other person.
Yeah,
typically a guy though.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever done it with women. It's always like a dude, and they always make sure they're Mexican beforehand. They're like, it looks like they speak Spanish, because it'd be really weird to do that to a guy who like spoke only English. Okay, apparently originating from North Portugal, its original name was actually Coco, which is meant to refer to its head/skull, as well as a coconut, because like supposedly like the top of his head looked like a coconut, if I remember correctly. Oh no, I got that wrong entirely. I misremember. No, it's literally like because that was like the word to describe the top, not to describe the top of a head, but like that was the word for the top, for your top of a head. It was literally just coco, like coconut, from the Portuguese language. Originally, I'm pretty sure it's different now. But as the tale moved through languages and with time, the name El Cucuy is what it's called now. It's also got like 20 other names that are vaguely similar to a cucuy. Like the sound, like the word, you know.
Yes.
El Cucuy's tale of origin has been tracked down to a Portuguese tale called, I don't know Portuguese, so bear with me. Aro de barca do purgatorio, or the act of the ship of purgatory, which was written in 1518, but the name El Cucuy was actually used to refer to the devil within the story. Earlier, I mentioned the book by Joe Hayes, and in that one, it describes El Cucuy as an evil creature that takes bad kids in a sack back to a cave in order to eat them. The depiction of the creature is that of a trollish big man who's like really ugly and has a giant red ear. But to be honest, I'll just go with what I remember being told as a kid, that it was this sort of amorphous being of shadow and your worst fears, hiding just out of view in the dark, ready to take you from your bed as soon as you fall asleep, for not portando... Fuck, I'm trying to do something here. For not portándose bien, right? Is that close enough?
I don't even know what the word you're trying to say is, bro.
Portándote bien.
Oh, portándote bien?
Yeah, portándote bien. But like the doing of it, not the past tense.
Pórtate bien?
For not portarte bien. Is that good enough?
It's good enough, bro. It's good enough.
Fuck you.
I guess I'll talk about La Mano Peluda. La Mano Peluda, I gotta say radio show because La Mano Peluda in of itself is a urban legend. Anyways, the show La Mano Peluda began in Mexico City, but the show would reach all around Mexico and the southern United States. I don't know if there's other parts that had the show as well. If there was, I'm sorry that I didn't mention y'all, but yeah. Now, at the start of the show, the host would suggest a horror theme / topic, and then the listeners would call the show to share their own experiences and stories. This show would start around 10 p.m. and would last to midnight every weeknight. We have already covered 3 of the scariest cases on our channel, Horror Highway, if you're interested. I think some of the... Honestly, I enjoyed making those episodes. The 2 episodes I made, I don't know about you, Omar, but yeah. They were pretty
I went through the process of... What did I do? I translated everything and like redubbed it. It was an experience. We'll say that.
Yeah, Omar did a different format than I did in making.
I wanted to test it out. I just want, see, because other YouTubers have already done your format, so I was like, oh, let's do a full job. I don't think it really worked out, to be honest. I think your way was better. My personal opinion.
I do want to make more episodes on this, like 1 or 2 more of the other scarier stories / events that happened through the Mano Peluda. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
El Dolam. I cannot find a pronunciation guide for this word, so I'm just assuming that's how it's pronounced. A giant jungle cat located in the state of Chiapas. It's described to resemble a jaguar, but its ferocity is unmatched, said to eat and kill anything that it wants to. Funnily enough, the cryptid seems to have a particular beef with monkeys, because monkeys don't fear them, causing them to try to annoy the creatures away. The Dolam is a creature that enjoys messing with their food. There isn't much else on the Dolam online, but it's described as being a huge and magically resistant cat, as well as their hair being an ingredient for potions of aging. And that's it. That's literally all I could find.
I mean, aging kind of like reverse or like make someone age. You don't know.
Whether it just said potions. I assume it's not reverse because it would be potions of reverse aging. So I think it makes people older.
I guess I'll head in with mine. Right. La Lechuza. It's a legend of a witch that takes the form of a giant owl. She lurks in the night, silently flying through trees, searching for victims. The word Lechuza directly translates to owl, but in the context of this cryptid, it's more like owl woman. So Lechuza are women who have sold their souls to the devil in exchange for magical powers at night. At night, they transform into monsters with an owl's body and woman's face. They fly at night and search for victims. There's another version of the origin story, which goes as Lechuzas are witches or the spirit of a witch that has been murdered by locals. The spirit returns as an owl/woman monster to get their revenge, and most sightings of a Lechuza nowadays are just it attacking someone in their car. The Lechuza mimics the cries of babies or whistles to try to lure people outside in the middle of the night. The cry of a Lechuza is also said to be an omen of death, either by seeing/hearing it or dreaming about it. When any of those things happen, you or one of your family members will die. Some of the Lechuza's powers are said to be, I haven't showed it, but the Lechuzas are said to be sighted when a storm is near, or a Lechuza brings the storm. They can also shapeshift into a giant owl lady. It is also said to be immune to bullets and weapons in general. Like I said, Lechuzas can also mimic the cries of infants and whistle. And yeah, even though that really isn't a power.
I think it's propaganda to say cryptids are immune to bullets. That's simply not true. You're just not putting enough in them.
I'll tell you, bro.
Okay.
It's a witch too, bro. You got a magic shield.
Ahuitzotl, also known as the Night Hatchet or the Night Axe, because that's what his name roughly translates to. This creature is said to be associated or a form of the Tezcatlipoca, or the god of the night sky. The legend of the creature goes that at night, you can hear stomping through the forest of Mexico, and its footsteps sound like someone chopping down a tree, hence the name. It's said that if you encounter the creature, you have a choice between running away or trying to confront the creature. Usually, confronting it would be certain death, but there's a trick with dealing with the Ahuitzotl. If you're brave enough, you can grab its exposed heart. I should probably give a description of the creature so the last sentence makes a little bit more sense. The Ahuitzotl has a humanoid body, except for the head and the chest. Where its head should be is just a stump, eerily similar to that of a tree stump, and its chest is actually an empty space covered by two small doors, and when it walks, like, the doors jiggle and move, Within the chest is the heart of the Ahuitzotl. I give up. The door sways open, so when it is, the creature of the heart is exposed, and it said that if you do in fact manage to grab the heart, you can demand fame, glory, and riches, or stuff like that, and that you shouldn't immediately let go as soon as he says, like, oh, I give up, here's your riches. What you have to do is you have to hold on to it until he gives you 3 or 4 agave thorns, and that's when you let go. It's also said that you could always just yank his heart out and run away with it, but if you do this, you have to wrap it in cloth, and you have to wait till the next morning to find out basically if you cursed yourself or if you blessed yourself. And the way to tell is if the heart turns into like agave thorns, cotton, or like fine cloth, then you're blessed. But if the heart is just missing, you've been cursed, and it's assumed that the Ahuitzotl is coming to kill you, basically. And that's basically it.
Okay. So like a tree type beat?
Just the top of his head, just a stump. And then and I guess he has like wooden doors in his chest is also a thing.
So like, do you have to fall asleep when you steal his heart?
I assume so, because it's the next morning.
I mean, I would can you just like.
Or you just have to not be in the presence of it for it to magically transform. I don't know. There's not really. That wasn't like super detailed on that. It's just basically saying like. Also, I forgot that if you grab his heart, like it's like a horrifying traumatic experience. So like only
for,
brave
like, us?
for like people who like go to try to confront him, it's already scary, and then it becomes magically more scary when you grab his heart.
Okay.
So you have to be brave to do it.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Would you try it?
No, I'd run away, bro. Okay,
But like,
it's like it literally was describing it like only warriors with like pure hearts and like brave souls can do this. It's literally like.
but like if you're going out to grab his heart for like the riches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess a wish, right? Because you said wish.
So, yeah, it's wishes, but in one of the things I read, it also said that basically what you do with the agave thorns is like the next time there's a war, it basically will guarantee you like at least that many wins in battle. So if you have 3 agave thorns, you either win 3 battles in the next war that's coming, or you'll take that many lives, or you'll take that many prisoners of war.
Okay.
And that's supposedly how you earn the riches, gold, and fame. So it's literally meant for warriors.
Oh,
but
okay.
like also that story is just that part of the story has kind of been stripped down as well, and you could just find it saying like, you go for it and then you get the 3 wishes, or the 3 or 4 wishes.
I feel like I would try it.
You would try it. I mean, it's like
why not, dude? Like,
it's like getting hit by scarecrow gas. I assume that's what they meant. Like you get hit by scarecrow gas as soon as you grab his heart, so you're like tripping really badly. But I don't know. I could be misinterpreting that. Maybe you just need to be brave of heart. I know I'm not. If I'm in a forest and I hear something that sounds like trees getting chopped down and it's just a monster's footsteps, I'm bolting. I am not staying there, dude. That's terrifying. No head. He's also pretty like disturbing. Not like I assume if you see it in person, it's absolutely disturbing. The pictures of him are kind of goofy. He looks pretty stupid. I'm not gonna know.
grandpa / father / uncle stories. So this basically just refers to stories for any like male figure in the family, such as grandfathers, uncles, dads, etc. But it's basically them telling a story about how they either fought a witch, a nahual, a demon, a cult, a devil, etc. Basically anything scary. Typically in El Cerro, which Cerro is over a hill. And yeah, it's basically anything scary out in the wilderness. Yeah, pretty much it. If you're Hispanic, I feel like you would know this. Pretty common.
I've never, none of my family has ever claimed to fight a demon, ghost, spirit. What they tell me is like, oh yeah, out in the milpa, wolves would come and we had to like beat the shit out of them so they wouldn't eat our livestock. That's what I heard.
I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Maybe that's just like a your family thing.
Nah, it's a pretty
demons.
common.
Nope, not with my family. Okay, El Charro Negro. You know Ghost Rider? It's basically El Charro Negro, with some major differences, but not a lot. Firstly, he rides a horse, not a motorcycle / car, because I know Jaime, what's his name? Jaime Reyes or whatever? The one with the Dodge Challenger. And the secondly is his namesake, the Charro. This refers to men who worked in ranchos, ranchero, meaning his attire was that of a horseman / ranch hand. There should be images on the screen right now if you don't know what that looks like, but basically think of a mariachi outfit that's also technically a type of charro or whatever. Their type of charro outfit, I should say. That being said, if you live in the city or near the city, you'll be safe from El Charro Negro. But if you live near a rancho or a pueblo, far from the city, with nothing but milpa and nopal around you, you're in his hunting grounds. The tale of El Charro Negro begins with a young ranchero who always wanted elegant clothes, someone who was obsessed with the way he dressed, even forgoing food in order to save more money to buy fancier and fancier clothes. He was raised in a family that couldn't afford this type of lifestyle, so it was hard for him to do this, but despite that, he still wanted more and more fancier things. This became far more difficult when his mom and dad died. Not able to let go of his vain interests, he decided to make a deal with the devil, in which he was promised wealth and enough money to never be poor again, in exchange for the man's soul, and El Charro Negro took the deal. This would, however, like all deals with the devil, come with an ironic punishment. As El Charro got older, he realized that only having money didn't amount for anything, as he didn't have any family or friends who actually liked him. Everyone just wanted his money. And soon he began to regret his deal. So in the place he lived, he built a small chapel, and he basically owned like this, like, well, you've seen fancy houses in Mexico. You know how they have like all the walls and shit? Yeah, he had that. He would have a chapel built where he lived, and he would have his attendees like place a bunch of crosses everywhere around his house. Despite that, he was still terrified of the devil coming to collect. So one day, late in the night, El Charro Negro got on his horse and rides off into the night, hoping to escape his debt. But no such luck was afforded to El Charro Negro, who was found by the devil and would not let the man escape. I should note, in this case, like, the devil was pretty honorable. He was not going to collect El Charro Negro's soul until he passed away. But due to him running away and backing out of the deal, that's why he decided to like show up in front of them and basically tell them like, nah, you're not doing this. The devil took El Charro's soul, and soon the man's body began to wither, leaving behind only the man's skeleton and the black Charro outfit the man had tried to run away with. Also, the devil cursed his horse because the horse was loyal to him. So yeah, he basically like tied the horse and like never stopped running as long as El Charro was on him, or the never stopped working, I should say. And that's how he earned the name El Charro Negro. The devil also ordered El Charro Negro to collect the souls of those who made deals with him. But he also gave him a bag of gold and told El Charro Negro if someone else would be tempted by their greed to take that bag of gold, they could instead take his place and he could finally rest in peace, as well as his horse. So he's basically a skeleton in a mariachi-like outfit on a black horse riding in the desert. I was just giving a description.
There is a ghost rider that rides a horse.
Yeah, I know, but that's not the ghost rider.
No, yeah, I'm just letting you know.
I don't even think his name is Ghost. Is his name Ghost Rider as well?
I don't know. I don't really read. I just know because of Johnny Cage.
Also, he doesn't have the Charro. He also doesn't have the Charro outfit. That's why I like specifically said. Secondly, his namesake is Charro.
La Niña Perro. This entry is about a video of something that looks like a girl that is walking pretty fast on all four limbs. It happened in Tamaulipas, Mexico. Here's the video. People say that it's a disabled person running and that it's also fake. To me, it could also be a Nahual. So yeah, pretty much it for the entry.
You know what it reminds me? It reminds me of that picture of the like super deformed guy in the Mickey Mouse outfit, like hunched on all fours. I don't know if you've seen that image. I don't think it's a real image. I think it's like a Photoshop image, but I'm sure you've seen it, right?
Maybe.
I'm sure I've sent it. I used to collect a bunch of cursed images, and I'm sure I've sent it in Discord, but it's probably long gone by now. This is my least scariest one, so Adiós Inocencia. On July 12, 2012, in the state of Mexico, El Campamento Colibri, a youth camp outside of Mexico City, was the victim of an attack conducted by an armed group comprised of 12 people. Approximately 90 people of the camp were attacked, with 17s being tortured, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, sexually harassed, and robbed of their personal belongings. The perpetrators of the attack were soon caught and subsequently prosecuted. For some reason, a show that's infamous in the Hispanic community for its poor acting, /direction, and antiquated views on current subjects, also known as La Rosa de Guadalupe, decided to make an episode based on this. The show basically mixes the direction of a telenovela with episodic storytelling, and tries to convey some sort of moral lesson about living in the modern world. And like every episode, an epiphany occurs, and there's this audio cue that appears in every episode. Does
I'm not laughing at
La
you.
Virgen Maria, yeah, but does La Virgen Maria, la Guadalupe, La Señora de La Virgen de Guadalupe appears every time that audio cue appears, right?
And when they make the right decision,
The epiphany.
A white rose appears.
Okay.
And it's like,
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you might be able to wait to play like 2 seconds of the audio state.
Perhaps.
Anyways, this show thought it would be a good idea to air an episode about this event, that very year it happened, with the name of the episode being Adiós Inocencia, Goodbye Innocence. The episode had been completely filmed and edited, ready to air, with the preview shown on August 10th, 2012. Obviously, the parents of the victims didn't want this airing, and so enraged, the families of the victims called the president of Televisa, the broadcasting company, Emilio Azcárraga, who made it so the episode would never air and become lost media. That being said, some people claim the episode did in fact air in 2013 or 2014, but that has never been 100% confirmed. Though, the promo did manage to get archived and is on YouTube. And I'm pretty sure that's what we'll be playing in the video. Or
to play that, bro?
you can just play it without audio.
So, I have told Omar we should make a Rosa de Guadalupe iceberg, but he didn't want to do it. So
I've seen like 4 episodes of the show.
okay,
dude.
but like
I've seen more episodes of the show on TikTok than I've seen it on my television.
But like, my mom would play it all the time when we were still in school.
My parents hated it because our church specifically said like, no, this is a straight up a telenovela. You're not learning anything here. They just want to like monetize and glamorize like bad things and have a nice little beautiful God twist at the end and make it seem like it was fine and then.
Which I thought would be pretty funny. It is what it is. I mean, I might make it. I have another iceberg that I want to make that is never been done before because I strive for original content. La Luz del Dinero. So this is a will-o-wisp type of creature found in Mexico. It is said to lead one to a buried treasure, though that's not always the case. The creatures have an uncanny knack for leading one off the path and to something that one needs. Following La Luces del Dinero has never caused anyone severe harm and has on several occasions led to people like safety, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But they also led to things that would improve the lives of the people that are following it. They mostly manifest for children, and they have also been known to help adults, but that's like very rare. They usually just help children. They are small orbs of light that will bob along and only a few feet off the ground. When one tries to catch it, they only like disappear and reappear somewhere close. They have argued that some have argued that this makes them phantom animals. Others say that they are capable of apparition, like as the Diri cow, which the Diri cow is like a dodo creature type beast, which obviously they're extinct. Or dodos are. The Diri cow is basically a dodo that has magic, and they could vanish at will. So yeah, there's a little bit more to it, but I mean, I didn't really find anything about them in Mexico. When I was searching, I mean, I just searched like what they were about, but no one ever really mentioned Mexico. Like I said, the luces resist capture, so you know, kind of hard to grab them.
Yeah, they just reappear somewhere else.
They befriend children. They won't always lead them to treasure. Sometimes they will just keep them company and play games with them, and you just chill with the children. So yeah, it's pretty much
it's like the opposite of a will-o-wisp. Not in like how it appears, but what it does. Because I think the point of a will-o-wisp is you follow it into the forest, and then you become lost and like lose your soul or something, or just die. Or you get taken away.
Was it a couple years ago? Oh, I'm pretty sure I did research will-o-wisp a decent amount for that Halloween episode.
We also went to Louisiana or whatever. I think, right? There was a will-o-wisp like little area. No, we went to. Well, we were near Louisiana, but when we were in that place near Oklahoma, there was like a road that was like heavy will-o-wisp or glowing orbs, heavy glowing orbs type situation going on. But yeah, I remember because you did
Texas.
You did the jack-o'-lantern thing, right?
I did like explaining Halloween history.
Yeah,
our Horror Highway podcast, which has not been updated in years.
I mean, this Iceberg's basically kind of worked like a podcast medium as well.
I guess, yeah.
The Ahuitzotl, written about in the Florentine Codex, a manuscript written in the 16th century that told about traditions of the Aztecs as well as the wildlife around the area. You'll find the Ahuitzotl, aka the thorny one of the water, described as an aquatic dog that lived in lakes and rivers of the Tenochtitlan. The creature is said to have short fur, pointy ears, a smooth body, and is said to have a black tail that has been described to have a human hand at the end of the tail. The creature is blamed for the drownings of those who go too far deep into the lakes and rivers, and is said to bite out the eyes of those who have drowned, and also bite off their fingers, and then let go of the bodies, letting them float to the top of the water. After this happened, because of the culture, you were not allowed to touch the dead bodies, so a specific Aztec priest of the water deity, Tlaloque, they were the ones who retrieved the bodies of those who drowned. It is believed there was 2 reasons that the Ahuitzotl would drown people. One was because they were good people, and the water deity wanted to reward them, so he brought them into the beautiful paradise called Tlalocan, where Tlaloque lived with his wife and 4 servants. 4 dwarf servants. I'm sure there were more servants, I'm just bringing up these 4 dwarf servants because it's relevant later for me personally. The second was they were drowned because they were hoarding gemstones, which were seen as symbols of the water, and they were being punished for their greed. Now, I finished it, but I find that kind of weird how rewarding and punishing people is the same method. I guess the people who were being punished didn't go to the beautiful water afterlife. Were probably sent to the underworld equivalent or something.
What religion was this? People?
I'm assuming Aztecs, because Aztec priests had to touch the dead bodies.
Okay, because pretty sure Aztecs had Mictlan. Was it Aztecs?
All I know is that I googled Tlaloque, and it was the water deity for Aztecs. That's what it said.
Mictlan is the hell of Aztec.
So you know how I mentioned his 4 servants?
Yeah.
So those are Tlaloques.
Wow.
And he is Tlaloc.
The vampire of the Bellen cemetery. The cemetery that this legend resides in has a bunch more legends attached to it. But this legend took place in the 18th century when Mexico was still under Spain's rule. A man named Jorge moved from Europe to what is now Guadalajara and bought a hacienda with the hopes of settling in and making friends. However, something wasn't right and no one liked him. Soon after he arrived, townsfolk began noticing that their animals were all dying and had been found to have their blood drained. One night, some of them decided to investigate what was doing this and were hunting at night. And to their surprise, they found Jorge biting the neck of an animal. They chased him around, but he was too fast and he got away. They didn't know what to do, and so they decided to surround his hacienda and drive a stake through his heart. As he was being stabbed, Jorge cried out that he would return one day to get his revenge. He was buried in El Panteón de Belen, but something strange began occurring over his tomb. A tree began to grow, and the townspeople began to believe that the day the tree would grow and grow so big that it would tear open the tomb, that Jorge would return to get his revenge. Another version of this tells that a bruja told the townspeople to go stab Jorge in the heart with a stake made from an arbol camichin, a type of tree. So after they placed the rock there, the rock would break open, and then a simichin branch would start to grow through the cracks. The tree is still there. If you go visit the cemetery, you can see the tree still there, and it's about 15 meters in height. And like I said, once the tree breaks or falls, Jorge would come out and just terrorize Guadalajara. So yeah.
Once the tree breaks the tomb or whatever.
Yeah, it breaks or falls. I read 2 little websites about it to figure out exactly what it was, and because they had another legend called the vampire tree, which to me I think was just the same tree. So I don't know. There was this one and then vampire tree, which I assume was the same thing.
Remind me again. Did he ever suck the blood of humans, or was it just animals?
Just animals, from what I read.
So is that a vampire, or is that just a weirdo who drinks animal blood?
Oh, dude.
I think they might have just staked a guilty man. Obviously, he was guilty of fucking with people's livestock, but I don't think he was a vampire. I think he was just cursing them in general, because anyone could curse anyone that's trying to kill them. It's not like.
I mean, that's one origin story. The other origin story is that a witch told him to go kill them.
Oh, okay. But that doesn't make him a vampire. Still, that just an underling.
Yeah, that's just what the legend's called, bro.
Was strange. Wayy Cho. If most goatmen in the US have a berserker/barbarian build, ignoring the most modern goatman sightings have them being able to shapeshift, The Wayy Cho is a pretty interesting case when it comes to the Goat Man myth, making the Goat Man a wizard. Wayy is a Yucatan Mayan word for brujo, which roughly translates to sorcerer, and chivo means goat in Spanish. The Wayy Cho is said to roam in the southern parts of Mexico like the Yucatan, Campeche, and Quintana Roo, and the northern part of Guatemala. As stated earlier, the Wayy Cho is a sorcerer, so he knows how to shapeshift to hide himself and can turn into other animals. But his form is that of a half-man, half-goat, with glowing red eyes that are known to make people sick if you stare for far too long. The Wayy Cho is no taller than 6 feet and no smaller than 4, said to stand on goat legs and have the torso of a man and the head of a goat, and is known to eat farm animals or take them away to perform dark rituals. One way to know if he's nearby is the rotten smell that follows him, as well as the cold air he brings. The origin of the Wayy Cho isn't exactly known, but there are 2 main stories. One of a young man who was able to heal people using the nature that surrounds him, like plants and shit, and he would gather knowledge of healing to become a Wayy, and soon the man would fall in love with a woman who cared for his family's goats. He was so in love with the woman, he made a deal with the Maya god of death, Kisin, to become a goat to get closer to her, because I guess he was like too afraid to talk to her like a regular fucking person, but instead only became half a goat and lost his soul to Kisin. Now he roams the villages at night. The other tale is of a man from the Yucatan who worked and was smart, but of a low social standing. But the girl he loved was of a higher one, and so he tried to be with her. But the woman's father forbade it due to his social standing. Enraged at hearing this, he ran into the forest cursing and called upon the devil, who found him and made a deal with him to allow the man to forever be with the woman in exchange for his soul. The man took the deal, and so he started to become a goat. Now the man looked at the devil and was like, hey, this wasn't part of the deal, I wanted to be with her, and the devil just kind of like, he's like, oh well, I am letting you be with her, and basically demanded that the spell be stopped, forcing him now forever to be a half man, half goat. And then he asked the devil for his soul back, but the devil was like, well, we had a deal, and I'm not going back on it. Now in a rage of what he became, he goes out at night, killing animals, and bringing evil wherever he goes.
Vampire plant. This is a carnivorous plant that was reported in the jungles of Mexico's Chiapas region. This cryptid, cryptid, same thing, right? Still the same thing. French explorer Byron de Proroc, he claimed that he saw it and described it as an enormous plant. It killed a small bird that landed on its thorny leaves. It curled its leaves and ended up spearing it to death with its thorns. Not much info on this plant is out there, but I just thought it was really cool. Yeah, kind of short one.
So it never has been confirmed to be real, basically.
Not really. Besides like entry in the dude's little booklet.
That's pretty cool. The Santiago River Frogman. This refers to a sighting a man saw in 1965 near the Santiago River. The man, a 19-year-old named Francisco Estrada Acosta, had his account written down in a book called Contacto, Mexico, Historia de Fenomeno Ovnia, which roughly translates to Contact, Mexico, History of the UFO Phenomena. According to Francisco, he was hunting in the colony of Morales, San Luis Potosi, when he suddenly was in front of a reptilian being, who he described as a tall figure with a large oval-shaped head, huge reddish phosphorescent eyes, and a large toad-like mouth. It stuck its hand out, which was a flipper, grabbing Francisco's hand, which he described as cold and scaly, and then the creature just flew up into the sky. Now, while some might say this was a alien/UFO encounter, others actually believe this to be Tlaloc, the Aztec deity of rain, as the deity is depicted with reptilian/amphibian traits such as flippers and scales, while still being human in shape, much like how the man described the creature in his encounter. I should probably note here, because I said I was going to do it earlier, in the previous entry for the Ahuitzotl, I mispronounced it. I said Taluques, which is like these 4 dwarves that live with Tlaloc and take care of stuff for him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that right now because, yeah, I messed that up. That's it.
Black demon, or also known as El Demonio Negro. It's a giant black shark that lives in the coast of Mexico's Baja California Peninsula. It is mostly reported on by local fishermen. It is claimed to be 20 to 60 feet long and weigh between 50,000 through 100,000 pounds. It is said to resemble a great white shark with a very dark coloration and a large tail. Shark was supposedly first spotted in 2008. Great white sharks are typically 11 to 16 feet tall, depending on the sex of the shark. Some say it's a megalodon. Others say it's just a big great white shark. Others claim that it could be a new species entirely. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
It could just be a shark with gigantism, bro. It's not common, but it doesn't happen in every animal.
That big?
Okay.
I mean,
how much bigger was it?
so it's 20 to 60 feet long.
How do you have a discrepancy of over 40 feet?
And then male great white sharks are 11 to 13, while female are 14 to 16.
I was going to say, aren't women animals typically bigger? Female animals?
Yeah. I just put 11 through 16 because, I mean, you get all of them there, you know?
Bro's ancient. Bro's like 10 million years old. That's why he's so big. Mexican pet rat. If you haven't ever read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, you probably haven't heard of this tale. Or if you haven't been on the internet reading like tabloid stuff as a kid, I was. But if you have read that book from cover to cover, then you definitely know of this story. But if you haven't, let me tell you. Basically, some people from out of Mexico decided to vacation in Mexico. While out and about, the vacationers found a dog and decided to sneak it out of Mexico and bring it back to the country from wherever they're from. It's usually America with them, out of pity for the animal, believing it to be a hairless dog. Once back over, they take the animal to a vet, only to be questioned by the vet on where they got the dog, only for them to eventually confess that they snuck it out of Mexico. And then the vet tells them that what they have is in fact not a dog, but a Mexican sewer rat. This story has many different variations, to such as the person getting the animal not actually being a vacationer, but someone who lives near Mexico and just goes down to Mexico because they live by the border. But for the most part, the main part of the story, that being like they find an animal, they bring it back with them, and then they find out it's a rat, is consistent throughout all tellings of the story. This story is an urban legend and doesn't seem to have any truth in it. But the story does seem to originate from the 1980s, and the tale isn't actually about Americans in Mexico. It's actually about Italians finding the rat in Africa. Also, if you want to know particularly what the Scary Stories in the Dark variants of this story is, it comes from Scary Stories 3, More Tales That Chill Your Bones, and it's called Sam's New Pet.
Yay. One more, guys, one more. Home stretch. Kind of weird. I mean, how do you mistake a fucking rat for a dog, dude?
Bro, Chihuahuas do kind of look like
not, dude.
They kind of do.
No, dude.
The one we saw yesterday, the Mega Mind we saw yesterday,
that
bro.
did not look like a rat.
That shit looked like a rat.
No, it did not.
My dogs were about to accidentally kick it because he kept walking in between everyone's feet, and then thankfully someone picked them up and held them for the rest of the night.
Okay, so my final entry, Dwendes. Dwendes are mythical creatures found in Spanish-speaking folklore. Other names for them are aluxes and chaneques. They're known for their small stature and mischievous nature, typically standing no taller than a human child. They are depicted with human-like features, pointy ears, and often wear traditional clothing. Dwendes are believed to play tricks on humans, like moving objects or causing disturbances, sometimes with more malevolent intentions. They are associated with natural settings, such as forests or caves, and can be found in various cultural variations across Spanish-speaking regions. I mean, also in Europe, right? With technically they're elves type beat.
Oh,
the
hidden folk.
Yeah.
In the Norwegian countries.
Yeah, I mean, they're very similar. So I mean, there might be like a couple of them snuck over the ships when they were visiting, you know, when they came.
Why would they need us? Oh, because they're from Mexico? Oh, yeah.
No. I mean, like,
oh, no, you're saying they came from the Norwegian countries and then got them. Oh, that makes sense because the hidden folk are supposed to be invisible. That's why they're hidden. So, yeah, I guess.
Although widely believed in folk traditions, there is no scientific evidence to confirm the existence of Dwendes, making them just like cultural folklore. They are very similar to elves, like I said. They are like differences, and yeah, if you're Hispanic, you definitely know what these guys are. Or I mean, aluxes, chaneques, basically the same thing. I'm pretty sure there's like slight differences in them, but basically the same thing. That's it.
That's wow, bro. You didn't talk about their backwards feet or the magics they use.
I do.
Or how they're actually not the size of a human child, because every video I've seen of them, they're like the size of my fucking foot.
It's not typically taller than a human child, bro.
That's huge though. A human child is huge. That's like at least 3 feet, right?
There's some that are huge, bro. Hey, what's up guys, it's Adis, and welcome to the end of the video. If you made it this far, We didn't make an outro. Surprisingly, I think we were just trying to finish faster. I didn't expect it to be that long, bro. For the first layer, I'm sorry about that. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, stay tuned. We're gonna finish this ice. We're actively making the iceberg ourselves because we did find some, but I feel like we could definitely add more. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, stay tuned.